Alright, so I'm going to show how to open up and disassemble this 15-inch MacBook Pro 2018 model A1990. So first thing you're going to want to do is remove all the screws from the bottom. These are Pentalobe 1.2 or P5 screws. Depending on where you got your screwdriver set, they might label it differently. Right, there's a star-shaped screwdriver bit, and it's specific to Apple. I don't think I've seen any other devices use this. Right? If my video helps you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share my channel with others so that they can also learn from my videos. And if it helps save you a bunch of money, please consider contributing a little to the channel. Every little bit helps, even $1 is greatly appreciated. Alright, so let's continue removing the screws. If you're wondering, again, if I didn't mention, make sure to keep the screws in order. I put the flat side down in the pattern I remove it, so 4 down here and 2 up there, so I'll put them on my desk in that pattern. Alright, anyways, once we get all of that out, we're going to remove the bottom cover. If you can kind of get in this air gap area here, and then you can lift that and get underneath here. It helps to use a suction cup or even like some pieces of tape. Usually what I would do, if you don't have a suction cup, you can get 2 pieces of tape. Let me kind of give you an example. And you basically stick one this way like that, alright, and then stick another one this way, and then you can stick them together and you can use that as a pull handle. This tape is old and I'm not going to use that, but that's how you would do that if you don't have a suction cup. Alright, I like to start with this side, and then it doesn't matter, you can start on either side, and then once you pull it up slightly you can get your fingernails or a pry tool under there. Alright, let me see if I can show this. So as you can see, there's a gap forming here now, and you can get your fingers in there. Okay, now what you do is you work your way down the side, okay? So just slide down there, and then what I do is I like to push with my fingernail or my thumb on the bottom part or the palm rest, and then pull up like that. I just saw a cloud of dust fly out, so I'm gonna have to clean this before I continue. But anyways, let's go ahead and continue popping up the other side of the cover. So once you get one side, you're going to work your way over to the other side. Same idea, just go down the edge here on the side, and then with your thumb push down here and pop up like that. If you're using a pry tool, then you'll have to basically just pry it, but I don't really like doing that method. I'll show you why. Let's go ahead and finish opening this up. Alright, so we got both these clips open. Now to remove the cover, what you want to do, I pull the cover out and then I kind of grab it, so like this, you can see I'm holding the cover. Okay, and then I use my fingers wrapped over the top so that way it doesn't just fall over. I'll take one finger here and I'll push down on this part while I pull with my other hand. So just like this. Sometimes it's stuck really strong, but you just gotta pull it down pretty hard, just like that, and you'll see it pops down. Alright, now we're going to go to the other side. Usually once you get that side, the other side will come out pretty easily. So we'll go to the same side, the other side, same thing, grab that, and then pull it down. So there you go. You can see the cover came out pretty easily. So this had liquid damage, so I'm going to be completely disassembling it. Here you can see some dust in here. The trackpad's not really making the vibration feedback anymore. If they're lucky, it might just be stuck to the bottom metal piece here, but yeah, it's super dusty in here, so we're going to go ahead and blow all this dust out. First thing we're going to do, just to make it a little bit safer to work on, we're going to disconnect the battery. So let me zoom in here and show you how you would do that. Okay, so go in here, there's this plastic cover here, we're going to lift that off. I'm going to get the dust out a little. Okay, so you just get underneath and you slowly pull it up, okay, just like this. Okay, there we go, and it should peel up like this. You'll have these rubber pieces here. Sometimes the adhesive will be stuck down on this end instead of on here, so just keep that in mind. It's not a big deal, you just stick that back down when we're done. Alright, so now we're going to disconnect the battery. So there's the battery connector right here. We're going to flip this little plastic tab up. This is just like a little sticker on top. Just to make it easier to peel this off. So we're going to move that out of the way. Flip the little latch up here. Once you get that latch up, I like to go from underneath here. My index fingernails ripped off, so I'm going to use this finger. So I get underneath the connector there, grab that, and then you want to grab close to the connector as possible, and then you kind of just wiggle this as you pull this back, okay? Just like that. Now that I got that up, I can actually switch to my other finger and then like that. All right, so that's how you pull this piece out. Okay, now we're going to switch over to a T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver bit. Okay, let's go ahead and grab that. And then we're going to disconnect the battery. All right, so the battery screw is right here. We're going to undo that using the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Okay, and this next part is going to be pretty important. You're going to want to lift this battery connector up. So if you look at it here, this metal tab is still resting against this piece here. You're going to want to get underneath there and lift it up, and then make sure it stays up like this. Okay, you want to bend it. You don't want to bend it too far back because you can break this metal piece or it won't line up the next time when you put it back down. But just go ahead and lift that so it stays up. All right, next thing we're going to do, we're going to drain the power from the board just so that it's even safer to work on. We're going to open up the MacBook, right? And then we're going to go ahead and press and hold the power button down here for about 10 to 15 seconds. Oops, sorry, it's over here, for 10 to 15 seconds. So just hold that button down. All right, it's on the left side, or I mean, with the way it is, it's on this side. So again, 10 to 15 seconds. And that will drain any power from the main board. I always get people asking questions like, why do I do that? Why do I need to do that? But I mean, trust me, like if you do this, it'll make your computer a lot safer to work on. There's a lot less risk that you will damage anything. You can work on it without doing that, but why would you do that if it's such a simple task? And yeah, there's also the PRAM and Smc Reset, so that doesn't wipe out any data. I'll show you that once I reassemble everything. But yeah. Anyways, we're going to clean out the dust and then we'll be back. All right. See you in a bit. All right. So I'm back. Cleaned up the inside. I had to use a little water because there was stuff stuck in there. There we go. All right. So next thing we're going to do, again, don't forget to drain the battery out. All right. We're going to start removing some components. Let's go ahead and remove the trackpad first because the customer said that that was having issues. I believe we're going to need a T3, but let me check. Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch over to the T3 or Torx 3 screwdriver. I'm going to remove the screw here. You want to keep all these screws in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. All right, if you mix them up, you can actually damage your computer. Getting a call right now, but I need to finish working on this. All right, we're going to set this metal plate aside. After you do that, you got the trackpad connector, trackpad connector right here. Let's zoom in. See if I can show this better. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the trackpad connector. So to remove that, sorry, it's shaking around so much. To remove that, just get underneath here. All right, and then you just grab this and pop that up. All right, I use both fingernails, one at the top corner and one at the bottom corner. You kind of wiggle it around and pull it up. There we go. All right, next we're going to undo this cable here. So the way I do that, try and keep the cable as flat as possible. You don't want to crease it or bend it too much. So do that, and then I'll keep one finger here so that way as the cable comes up, it's not going to suddenly like fly out. All right, so just like that, and there we go. Okay, this makes some little bubbles here. You can just make sure to push them back down a little bit. All right. Okay. These, you can't really get rid of them completely, and I don't know of a way to 100% do this without getting these bubbles. All right, unless you're gonna like destroy this cable, which for that you have to like roll it back, but it looks like using my fingernail to kind of smooth it out worked. All right, so now we're going to remove the trackpad here. So you got all these screws along the side and then a few running along the front. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit so you can see all of them at the same time. There we go. Okay, so for this, we might have to switch back to the T5 screwdriver. Let's see here. All right, yep. All right, and let's go ahead and remove all these screws. Again, you want to keep them in order because they are different size, shape, and lengths. All right, and if you mix them up, you can cause damage to your computer. All right, just gonna go ahead and remove all these screws. Okay, just like this. Again, I just put them in the layout that I remove them. I'm a little worried there's some dried up coffee stuff there, but at least it's pretty dry, so I think it's okay. It shouldn't have any damage. Worst case, the battery might need to be replaced. Excuse Okay, excuse me. All right, let's go ahead and continue taking these screws out. Going along the bottom. And after you get this piece out, you want to be careful not to flip the thing over because there's these little washers on it, and if you flip it over, all those little washers are going to fall off. The washers come off really easily. Even if you were to just like blow on it, they'll fly off the trackpad. So keep that in mind, and once I remove them, I'll show you what I mean. Alright, so in this case, because I'm most likely going to have to clean the bottom of the trackpad and stuff, I might have to remove all those little washers while I work on it. But, yep. Alright, so we're almost done. Removing all these screws. Only 2 more here. Okay. Alright, last one. Alright, so now we got all the trackpad screws out. What you're going to want to do, let me zoom out to make this a little bit easier to see. Okay, so zoom out more, there we go. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to open up the MacBook. I just stick my finger in under here, okay? Slowly lift it up, and as you can see, the trackpad just falls down. There's the sticky stuff underneath from their spill, but normally it's not sticky under there, okay? So slowly lift this up, okay? Just like this. I'm going to slide the trackpad over to the side so this cable could easily fall through. And here we go. Okay. So here you can see the trackpad, and that's a lot of kind of liquid residue on there. I'm going to try and clean it, and hopefully it will fix the clicking issue, but there's a good chance it's probably not going to work. I don't see anything on the motor itself, but the circuitry under here and stuff might have some issues. We'll see. Alright. So next thing, we're going to remove this cable. So just like with the other, actually I didn't show one on this model yet. Let's actually move this out of the way. Let me show you the spill here. So here you can see it's all sticky on there as well. So I am going to have to clean that up as well. Okay, I'm going to set this aside for now. And let's go ahead, let's see where I can put this. And then we're going to go ahead and pop it open, or clean up the trackpad first. Okay, so here's the trackpad, and then these are the little washers I was talking about. So here you can see it might not be stuck because, oh yeah, okay. So it might not be stuck too bad because of the liquid, or it might not fly off too bad because of the liquid, but this one there's no liquid. So if I blow that, as you can see, it just fell off super easily. Okay, so you want to be very careful with these little things because they're very easy to lose. And yeah, there's the double one here, double one there. There's the single circle ones here. Then you got the 2 double ones here, and then you got the single ones all over there. All right, it looks like these ones might be, actually that might be stuck to the other side of the trackpad because I don't see them in here. This one, yeah, the liquid might have caused them to get pulled out into the trackpad, so we'll see. I'm gonna try and get all of these out. It helps, you can use like a little magnet to do it, so let me try and do this. So I can use a magnet and I can pull these little things out. This one's kind of stuck there. Maybe the liquid got to it. There we go. Oops, sorry, I'm going out of view of the camera. But we're going to get all of those out. I'm going to rinse them off because they are a little bit sticky. So I'm going to just get them out like that. Okay. That one's missing. That one's missing. So we got the middle one here. Okay, so all of these ones down here, oops, sorry, all of the ones down here except for the middle one were missing. So let's see if they're on the other side of the trackpad, and then we'll try and get them out. But let's go ahead and remove this cable real quick. So flip this little latch up here, okay, just like that. Once you make sure it's flipped up, we're going to basically do the same thing. You want to peel this off because there's a sticker, all right, a little bit, and then you kind of just wiggle this and pull it out. Right, be careful, there's still some adhesive holding it, and there. And you want to pull it somewhat close. Here you can see the, oops, here you can see the adhesive that I was talking about, and there's actually a little coffee spill here that was making that side stick here. So you want to be careful when pulling this cable out. These little slits in here, when you pull it, it makes it it can crease and bend and damage itself. So you want to make sure that when you're pulling this, you grab both ends and kind of like pull it straight back, not like pulling on one and then the other one will tear. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. I am going to clean this up as well. Just going to use a little water under the tap. This one I'm going to have to use like paper towel with a little bit of water. Make sure it's not enough to kind of wet the entire trackpad. Okay, so I'm going to set this trackpad aside. Let's go ahead and look at the other side here to see if those things are all stuck to it. Okay, so we're going to flip it over, open it up, and yes, they are all stuck in there. So let's, oops, I'm going to knock everything over. So there you go. You can see here, there's this washer stuck there. Okay, let me get that out of the way. Let's see if I can use the trackpad or the magnet to take that out. Nope. Okay, so I'm gonna pry it up. There we go. And because this is aluminum, the magnet doesn't stick to it, but it sticks to this. So we're gonna get that. Same thing with this one. Push that out. There we go. Get that out. Same thing with this one. Okay. Looks like they're all coming out not too bad. I'm gonna have to get a cup of warm water just to dissolve this stuff here, and there we go. So I got all of those. All right, so now I'm gonna get a piece of paper towel with some water on it, and then we're gonna clean this up. All right, so just get a paper towel. Oops, okay. All right, so I'm gonna get a paper towel. Just tear a piece. You don't need too much. I have a little thing of water here, so what I'm going to do, let me zoom out a little bit more. There you go. So I'm just going to get this paper a little bit wet. You don't want it too wet, so you don't want it where water's dripping out. What I like to do is once I put water on it, I'll squeeze it out until it goes all into the dry end, and that way you're sure that it's not going to drip water anywhere. Right? Once you do that, I'm just going to wipe this stuff up. We're going to have to use like multiple paper towels to do this, because after you clean it up, it still leaves behind like a little of the residue, and what happens is the sugar that's in this is what makes the thing stick, and we have to get all that residue out. And usually just a one-time cleaning up the thick layer of stuff is not going to be good enough. It'll look clean, but it'll still be, once it dries up, it'll be sticky again. So you want to make sure to do this several times with new paper. All right, so we've got that, and clean water. Okay, so we're getting all of that out. Oh, what is this stuff? It's peeling up. So we're gonna have to be careful with this. I've never seen that thing peel up before, so we'll just be careful. There's like some pad there. It's all sticky though, so I don't know. Let's see if we can wash that, but we're gonna have to be careful. So I'm gonna put a little more water on that, but I have to be careful not to completely tear that piece. I don't think that, maybe it just prevents it from rattling against the metal case. Okay, but this is, I don't know, it's sticky. I don't know how I'm gonna get the residue completely off of that, so we'll see. Worst case, I might have to peel that off, and then it'll just, he'll have to live with the rattle sound in exchange for the actual clicking feedback. So we'll see what we can do. All right, let's continue cleaning this out. Okay, so we got most of that. Let's go ahead and get another piece of paper towel. I'm just going to keep doing this. All right. Right, make sure again that the water isn't dripping anywhere, because if it drips into here, you can fry your whole battery, and you do not want to have to replace your battery just because you dripped a little water in there. All right. Okay, so we're going to continue cleaning this out. Make sure to clean this little area as well. Okay, we'll probably do this one more time after this. Again, we're going to have to do the same thing with the trackpad. It's a little bit extra tedious work, but that's what you got to do to make sure that your parts remain okay. Okay, I'm gonna get a little water on this dry side. Use that to clean this. Lightly clean this. I thought this was like a plastic sticker, so I ended up wiping it too rough. So I don't know what that is, but it's staying sticky, so I don't know if it's gonna... We'll see. This stuff is just sticking to it. Alright, so I'm gonna get more water on a new piece of paper. And this should hopefully be the last one we need. Again, make sure it doesn't leak anywhere. Okay, go ahead and wipe this up one more time. Alright. There's some down here that I need to make sure it's kind of cleaned up. Not much working area for that. Alright, let's try it up. Okay, that's all dried. Not sticky. I have this little air blower I can use to make sure it's extra dry. Seems good. Not sticky at all. I'm gonna clean up, there's this little corner here that has some residue there. Okay, switch over to the dry side. Okay, so I got that, that's all cleaned up. Other than this part that's permanently sticky, I don't think I can do anything about that. I don't know what this piece is. Maybe, okay, I don't know. I don't know what to do about that. This little black area that got torn a little bit. Well, alright, we're going to close this. Alright, we're going to set this aside, and then we're going to clean the trackpad. So trackpad also has all this liquid on it. We're going to go ahead again with the wet paper towel and just clean all this stuff off. Okay, we're probably going to need multiple layers for this as well, or multiple pieces of paper. You want to be careful for the circuitry there. You don't want to get the liquid in there. Okay. Alright, just be patient and keep scrubbing it. If it's not coming out, it'll eventually come out. Alright, basically we're just slowly dissolving the liquid away, or the residue away. Okay, just like that. Alright, we're looking good here. Oh, it's pretty bad down here. I can actually smell the coffee. Okay. There. Alright, let's get a new paper. Alright, same thing, fold it up. Try and make it somewhat thick. I have this thing with water. You can use whatever, like a little dish, but this thing helps me get like a little water out like that. And then I just absorb it in. Then make sure to squeeze this so that the water doesn't drip out. Okay, continue cleaning. Okay. Okay, hopefully the liquid didn't go into this side. I can't really see because the stuff is in the way, the plastic, so you can't really tell. But if he's lucky, trackpad might be okay. It looks like the liquid didn't go into the circuitry, so we'll find out when we put it all back together. Right, I don't know what this metal piece there is kind of blocking it, so I can't see if it went in that way. But yeah, we're just going to keep cleaning. Alright, I'm going to switch to the other side here. You can see it turns slightly brown. Switch to the other side, add some more water. We'll clean it maybe 1 or 2 more times. So let's go ahead and wipe this. Sorry, I know it's going off camera. I'm trying to give a close-up view. I mean, this part's pretty straightforward, but I kind of like to let people see the work that goes into it, so just show the entire process. Hopefully there's no sticky stuff underneath this this metal bar, because you can't really clean under that. So if it's sticky under there, then you're gonna want to just replace your trackpad. Alright, I don't know what the trackpads cost now, but when I saw them before, they weren't too bad, around 35 bucks or so. So it's not too bad if you do have to replace it. I don't know if the prices went up. I actually had a spare one of this and then I dropped it, so it's kind of sad. But yeah. Alright, so one more time. Clean paper towel, wipe it up. Okay. Get all dried. At least we know for sure his MacBook was turning on and everything. Alright. A few of his keys were a little sticky, so we're gonna have to clean that, but other than that, I think it should be okay. Alright, so it's looking good. I'm not seeing too much residue under here now. Looks good. Again, be careful with the circuits there. Okay, so we're good. Let's go ahead and dry this thing up. Get all the residue off. Okay, looking good. Let's see, did I have to clean this? This is okay. Oop, this little sticker pad is okay. We're going to set the trackpad aside now. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and I'm going to wash these in some warm water and I'll be back. Let's see here. So we got 1, 2, how many circles? We should have 4 of these double ones. We have 3 for the bottom, and then we have 2 for the sides of the little circles. Okay, so I'll leave that there. Let me get another piece of paper and clean that cable that had the sticky stuff on it, and then I will be back with the little ring parts. Okay, so here you can see there's the liquid residue here, so we're going to clean that as well. You don't want to bend this cable back and forth too much, so be careful. Okay, looks nice and clean now. We're good on this side. Let's flip it over. Oh, the sticker's stuck back down. Okay, so we're good on this side. The connector here looks good. I don't see anything burnt. Let's flip it over. Alright, let's clean this side as well. It doesn't have too much, just a tiny bit of residue, so we're good on that part. A little bit more. There we go. Alright, all clean. So now I'm going to clean up these little washers and I will be back. Alright, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. Just drying up these little washers now. Okay, just make sure they're nice and dry. Alright, now we're going to put those little washers on the trackpad and we're going to actually install the trackpad back into the MacBook because we're done with it. Let's go ahead and get this here. Okay, and let's go ahead and put these little washers back in. So just grab them. Got the double washer there. Put that on. Alright, second double washer here. Put that on. There's no right side up or upside down for these little washers, so yep. Alright, get the little circle washer in there. Second little circle washer in there. Okay. Again, these little washers fall off really easily. If you just lifted up the trackpad and put it down a little bit too hard, it would just fly off, so keep that in mind. Alright, another double washer here. single washer there. Oops, there you go. Did it fall on? Oh yeah. Okay. The other single washer. So this metal, it kind of bounces, so be careful. If you like push on it and then let go, it can fling the little washers out. Okay, another double washer there. Another single washer here. Alright, and it's also kind of hard to see them. So make sure that they're all on there. Okay, last one. Drop that one. Oops. So I'm going to use the magnet to get it back. I have to be careful not to fling all the other ones out. That's why they put this metal bar there. Okay, so this bar here, I think, is to dissipate the electromagnetic field. Or it pulls on it to make the vibration, I guess. Okay, so this probably is the magnet. It tries and pulls this, and I think that's what it gives it the clicking feeling. Alright, so let's go ahead and put that there. Come on. There we go. Alright, double check. All the washers are there. Looks good. Alright, let's go ahead and put this cable back on. So the way you know which way this cable goes, of course, you put it the way where opposite of this curve. Okay, make sure that latches up. Make sure that when you put this back, the sticker isn't going to pull it down. I need to get that little thing off. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and stick this cable back in. Again, you have to keep the cable up slightly so that way it doesn't just stick back down to the trackpad. And then slide that in all the way as much as you can. Okay, looks like, if I remember correctly, it doesn't actually go that far in, right? It just goes like that. Make sure there's no dirt on it. Okay. Okay, so this trackpad cable actually doesn't slide too far in. I think that's all it goes. Put that latch down, just slide your finger over the top. Alright, and then we'll stick this into place. There we go, just like that. The little gold pins are still exposed. Alright, let's go ahead and get the MacBook, and we're going to reinstall the thing here. Let's put the water away for now. Okay, move the trackpad out of the way. Grab the MacBook. Alright. Alright, now we're going to open up the screen again slightly. You want to hold it up with your hand so it doesn't fall over. Again, slowly transfer the trackpad over onto the screen and put it down gently so that the washers don't fly out. Okay, get the cable up and into the little groove here. Okay, we're going to have to keep holding it up and slowly lift the trackpad up. Okay, and then get that into place. There we go. We're going to have to hold this in. You want to make sure, let me double check the washers because the kind of rough motion of putting that into place sometimes can make those fly off. Looks good. Okay, slowly lift it in. There we go. And then while you're holding this in place, if you want, you can actually put some tape underneath, but I'm going to hold this in place. And then you're going to get one screw on each corner here. Okay, just like this. Again, using the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver. Let me twist it backward to make sure it goes in right. And we're just gonna get the two bottom or two corners here, the top one and then the bottom corner. Okay, just like this. Alright, now that we got those two in, you can slowly let the thing down. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and put the rest of the screws. We're just loosely fitting them. Don't tighten it all the way down yet. You'll see why in a bit. Okay, so here you can see it still moves around. That's what we want. Okay, let me zoom in so you can see that better. Okay, again, these things can still move around, and that's why we want to loosely fit it, because it's not centered. So we want to make sure to get everything centered before we tighten it. As you can see, even with all the screws in, it still wobbles around quite a bit. So we're just putting all the screws in now, so that way the washers will stay in place. Alright. So far it looks good. There's a little residue there. I'm going to clean that off as well. Hopefully it didn't get inside the circuit area of the battery. It did turn on, so I think we should be okay. Alright. Get that screw in. Alright, last one. Alright, there we go. I'm going to use a little water on the paper towel and clean up this. Alright, just to get rid of any signs of liquid damage in here. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to show why we had to loosely fit those screws. Let's go ahead and flip the computer over. You want to open it up. Make sure you don't smash the trackpad cable. Okay, I'm going to push it out of the way. Alright, so we're going to get this here. Now what you want to do, as you can see, this piece can like shift over like left and right. So what we're going to do, we're going to get a piece of tape here. So here you can see we can kind of move it up and down. You want to try and get this as close to centered as possible. Okay. I mean, it won't really affect the use of the computer, but it doesn't look good. So I got to try and get this lined up as much as possible. Let me actually get some better pieces of tape. So these might work better. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so we're gonna, as you can see, move this around. It's hard for me to see if it's lined up because I'm looking from the back angle. So let's, sorry if my head gets in the way. Okay, for me that looks like it's centered, so we're gonna tape this down and tape that down. Okay, make sure it's stable, that it's not moving around anymore. I'm gonna take a look. Okay, looks good. So we're going to close the screen, flip it back over, and then we're going to go ahead and tighten down all those trackpad screws, alright? And that's how you make sure that the trackpad is centered. So we're going to do the corners first, just so it doesn't move around. And then we can go ahead and tighten down the rest. Okay, just like that. Alright, so now let's go ahead and do the rest. Double check, make sure that's good. Okay. Alright. Got all the double corner screws in. Let's go ahead and do these sides now. Alright, and then we'll do all the screws along the bottom. Alright, so now that we got all of that, we're going to go ahead and remove the motherboard or the logic board from the computer. Let's go ahead and zoom out. So for this, if I remember correctly, you'll just need a T5 and a T3 screwdriver. Let me zoom in a bit more. Okay, so we're going to be working on up here. We don't need to do anything with the trackpad cable for now, so we'll just move that out of the way. Okay, you can just leave it there, but I'll tuck it there so it's not in my way. Alright, so let's go ahead and start removing these components. We are going to have to take these little covers off using a T3 screwdriver. I'm not going to be removing the screen. If you want to see how to remove the screen, I have a video of that. For all these different models, so yep, and it's almost exactly the same for like the 2013 or the 13-inch and the 15-inch models. Excuse me, the 16-inch model is also very similar, so usually if you watch any of those videos you can kind of figure it out. Right, once you remove the two T3 or Torx 3 screws from there, you can kind of lift this plastic piece up and pull that out. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. I don't know if I should zoom in more to make this easier for you guys to see, or if this works, if it's better to see the entire computer so you know where I'm focusing on. Alright, so we got that. We're going to lift that and pull that out. Alright, so now we got both those out. Okay, next thing we're going to do, we're going to remove the little connectors here. So there's 2 screws holding that as well. I'm going to try and keep all these things in together. Again, you want to keep track of all the screws to make sure you put them back in the right spot. If you mix the screws up, you can damage your computer. Alright, so remove those 2 screws. I like to put the screws next to the bracket I removed, so that way it's easier for me to know which screws go with what bracket. Alright, got this. We're going to remove the connectors later. For now, we're just going to remove all these brackets. So let's go ahead and remove the bracket here. It's for the charge port or the USB-C ports. Alright. Alright, and again, the way I memorize where the stuff goes is I put the pieces back in the pattern that I remove them. Alright, so let's remove this metal bracket. Okay, let's go ahead and look for any other metal brackets we need to remove. Let's go ahead and remove the screen connector brackets here. Okay, so this, I don't know why, but it's really stuck in there. Let's see here. This is also T3. Okay, this screw came out just easily. The other one, it skipped for some reason, so let me make sure I put in enough force to completely move that safely. There we go. Alright, got the second screw. Now that you've got that screw, we'll remove this bracket as well. Oops, I flipped it upside down. Okay. Alright, now we're going to remove the 2 screws holding this metal bracket. These screws are quite long, so keep that in mind. Again, all these screws for almost every one of these brackets are different, so you want to make sure to keep track of what you're removing from where. Okay. There we go. Alright, and then we'll take this metal bracket out. Okay, now we're going to remove all these brackets down this side. Alright. When I put them back, I'll probably do a close-up so you can kind of see a little bit better. But for now, I'm just going to remove them with the entire laptop view. Alright, let's remove this bracket. So this one has a little hook on it on the side over here. So when you lift it, you kind of want to make sure it clears that bracket. Right, you kind of have to wiggle it, and there we go. Alright, then we're going to remove these 2. Okay, get that bracket out, set that aside, and then we got the last one here. Take those 2 screws out. Alright, and we'll set this bracket aside as well. There we go. Alright, so next we're going to go ahead and disconnect all these little cables. We might actually, let's go ahead and remove the last few T3 screws that we're going to need. We're going to also need a T8 and a T5. So there's 2 T3 screws right here. So I'm going to remove all the motherboard screws actually right now. So I don't know why some of these screws are really loose. Okay, I'm going to have to be careful, make sure I keep them all in order. So there's only 2 more T3 screws, these 2, holding the board down. Okay, then we're going to switch over to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver, and we're going to remove all the T5 screws. So we got 4 running along the top here, so we're going to remove those 4. So I just want to open this to check if there's liquid damage on here. Most likely it's okay because it was all at the battery area and the trackpad, but it's possible because some of it went on the keyboard. It might have flowed underneath. Alright, so let's remove the 4th one up here. Okay, so now that we got those 4 screws out, there's one more, oops, sorry, over here. We're going to remove that as well. Okay, and then you got the 2 other ones here underneath the fans. Okay. Alright, so that's all those screws. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the two T8 screws up here holding the heat sinks in place. So let's switch over to the T8 or Torx 8 screwdriver. We'll remove that screw. Okay, and we'll remove the other screw up here. Now we're going to have to remove all the little connectors. I'm going to actually zoom in to show this a little bit better. Okay, so let's zoom in a bit, and I'm going to go one by one. So I'm going to start from the left side of the computer. Let's go over here. So we're going to flip up this cable. This is for the headphone audio jack. All right. This model, because it has a fingerprint sensor, there's actually another cable hidden under here. So you want to make sure we get that. So once you lift that up, you'll see here, there's this little tiny cable there. You want to be careful and lift that up as well. Again, you want to either use your fingerprints or some kind of plastic or wooden tool, because you don't want to end up shorting these cables or damaging things. I like using my fingernails because I can feel exactly how much force is being applied, and then I won't accidentally destroy things. All right, so we got the charge port connectors here. You just flip it up just like that. This one you can actually bend over to the side and keep it out of the way. All right, let's see here. So now we got the speaker connector here, just like every other model. Again, I use my fingernails for this. You can use a thin pry tool or something. What I do is I get my fingernail as close to the connector as I can. I kind of work my way because there's some adhesive here, so I'm actually peeling up the adhesive. So there we go, we got the adhesive out. Now I'm going to get my fingernail as close to the edge of this connector as possible, and I'm going to use that to pry up the edge just like this. All right, you can see it pops up, and then you can pull it out just like this. So we're going to have to move this cable out of the way as well. All right, so we already removed the trackpad connector. Now we're going to remove this connector. I forgot what this is for. Maybe I think it's for the keyboard. So yeah. All right, so let's go ahead and pop this out. All right, my fingernail is broken there, so I have to use my middle finger on this one. But just do that. Okay, and pop this up just like that. We're going to move that out of the way as well. The battery connector stuff we don't need to remove. If you want, you can take out this little cable, but I'm going to just leave it there. All right, so let's go ahead and keep moving over down the board. Now we're going to go over here, and we're going to remove the LCD Lvds connector here. So just get under there, and then we're going to pop that up just like that, and we'll just leave it there. All right, now we got the wireless antennas. I like to just pull from the tail. Just like the speaker one, you want to get as close to the tail as you can and then pop it up from there. All right, just like that. Since I have all the motherboard screws out, I can actually lift up the board slightly with my finger. I don't know if you can see the difference that it's popping up. And then I can push down with my other finger, and you see it pops it out easily. All right, and then this side, same thing. Lift it up and it pops out. Okay, this cable is a little bit tricky to put back when you pull out the motherboard. So we'll see. I might end up just taking the whole antenna board out. Well, I don't know. We'll see if I need to do that. If that's the case, I might end up just doing the whole screen and everything on this, but I shouldn't have to. All right, so we got this connector here. I believe this connector is for the touch bar at the top. All right, so we're going to pop that out. All right. There's actually, I think, two connectors for the touch bar, so I think this is one of them. And then you got the other one down here. But let's go ahead and remove the power connector here as well, or the USB-C ports. Just pop that up and bend that out of the way. Okay. And then we're going to remove this other one here. Same thing. Pop that up. I'm going to hold the board down, but pop that up. All right. And then we got the last connector here is the other speaker. So I'm going to get underneath again, just like the other one. Get that adhesive up and out of the way. Okay, and there we go, it popped out. All right, so let's go ahead and zoom out, and let's see about pulling the whole motherboard or logic board out. Okay, so this is a tricky process because when you take this board out, we're gonna have to get all these cables back on top of the board while we're like sitting it back down. So keep that in mind. If you're gonna attempt this, it's gonna be pretty tricky to get everything back into place. So first thing we're going to do is find a place to lift the motherboard. You can kind of lift it from lots of places. You don't want to like bend this thing though. And usually what I like to do is start closer from the bottom. So if you can get under here, you can lift up from here, as you can see. So I'm lifting up the motherboard here. I'm going to get this cable underneath the board so that I don't have to worry about it. We're going to make sure this cable goes underneath. So all these little cables, you need to make sure to push them out of the way so that they're not on top of the motherboard. Okay, this one, and you're going to just slowly lift the board up. Okay. Oh, this tape is actually stuck on here, so we're going to have to peel these off as well. I forgot to mention that. So let's go ahead and peel these rubber pieces up. Okay. You don't need to rip them out of the, you're not going to rip them out. You're just peeling them away from the fan so that they're no longer stuck to the fan. All right. We're going to do that on both sides. Almost forgot about that. That would have made it very difficult to remove. Okay. So there we go. So we lifted those. Now let's go ahead and continue lifting the board up and out slowly and carefully. Okay. As you can see, I'm pulling it slightly towards myself. And again, you want to keep rechecking, make sure none of these cables are getting caught on it, because a lot of times it will get caught again, and then if you yank really hard or too quickly, then you'll end up just breaking those cables. So again, make sure all these cables are out of the way. Make sure that's out of the way. Slowly kind of lift it. We're going to go from the left side first here. Move these cables all out of the way. Power cable, move that out of the way. Slowly keep lifting here. Again, because the antennas are in here, we're going to have to be careful because we're going to slide it out. Okay. Oh, I did miss one other cable here. That's why I was stuck. Okay, so there's the microphone cable here. We're going to remove that as well. Actually, I need to zoom in to show this. Okay, hopefully you guys didn't just like pause my video after that point and then rip it out. But there's the microphone cable here. We flip this latch up. Okay. And then once you flip that latch up, you can go ahead and kind of grab this part and wiggle it. A lot of times I might have to use a needle for this, but let's see. Okay, it did come out. So sometimes it doesn't come out, so I have to get a needle between there and then use that as a kind of a pull latch. So we're going to move this microphone out of the way. Let's zoom back out and show the continuing removing the motherboard. Okay, so there we go. Now it should lift up okay. I was wondering why it was still stuck down. Make sure that's not stuck. Alright, so now we're going to slowly pull this away to get the wireless antennas out from underneath. Alright, just like that, and there we go. So we got the whole motherboard out. If you do need to change the LCD LVDS cable, there's the connector here, 2 screws holding it in, and then you can pop that out. Same thing, there's the little latch. Alright, the MacBook, it has these little raised areas. I think these are basically electromagnets that detect when the screen is open or closed. So if your computer is malfunctioning, this is usually the culprit. Alright, there's also another one on this side. So it's really dusty under here. I don't see any liquid, but because we took it out, we're just going to go ahead and clean it up, and then we're going to go through and reassemble everything. Okay, so everything looks good under here. I'm going to get a anti-static bag thing here, and I'm going to put the motherboard there for now. Okay, so we're going to set that aside, and I'm going to go clean this up. So inside here doesn't look too bad. Underneath the motherboard's a little bit worse, but I'll just clean it up because it's open. Alright, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, so I'm back. Let's continue putting back the motherboard on here. Okay, so again, the tricky part is getting all these cables back on top of the board. But yeah, we're going to do what we can. Alright, so the other thing here, so this cable, yeah, like this cable is for the touch bar, and then this little cable also goes into there. So I think probably one is for the touch bar backlight or something, and maybe one is for the actual touch function and everything. I don't know for sure because I haven't really experimented unplugging things and leaving it like that because I don't want to risk damaging anything. So yeah, alright, so now we're going to put the board back in. Again, the main thing is you first want to get all these little wireless antennas in. Okay, make sure to lift this up. Okay, and we're going to slowly rotate this board over with the wireless antennas in. You want to be careful not to grab on the metal bar thingy that you call the metal bar tab for the battery. Okay, and we're going to slowly rotate this into place, making sure the wireless antennas go in. Oops, I might have gone a little bit too much. There we go. Okay, and then make sure all these little connectors end up back on top. The microphone, the power button thingies, all right? So the tricky part is rotating this in a way and getting it back in without all these cables ending up underneath. We're gonna have to lift this up as well. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna work with the upper cables first just to make sure. Okay, that looks good. I'm gonna slowly lower it down. We're gonna probably want to use a plastic tool to get all these little connectors back in. Slowly dropping it down. We got this one. All right, I think my customer's calling, so I'm gonna have to take this call. All right, I'll see you guys in a bit. All right, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and continue the reassembly. Again, make sure all these cables are out on top. You want to make sure the fingerprint sensor is also on top. You got that. All right, we got all the speaker connectors. It helps to have like a tweezer or something like this. The only problem is tweezers are metal. If you have like plastic tweezers, you can probably use those, but it might be a little tricky. So we're gonna make sure the speaker connector is on top. All right, make sure this connector is on top and also the one down here. Okay, can be a little tricky. I might have to move that so we can lift this high enough. There we go. Again, the trickiest part is getting all these cables back on top so that you can put it all back together. All right, so got that. Make sure this little cable for the battery connector is on top. Right, and then we got the other speaker connector and this little connector for the touch bar up there. Okay, let's go ahead and move this speaker connector out as well. Okay. You want to be careful because if other cables are connected or stuck, trapped on, and then you try and yank it up, you'll end up ripping these cables out. Okay, so now we're going to just do a visual check, make sure all the cables are out. We got the touch button, the fingerprint sensor, audio jack, got the two charging cables here. You got the touch bar cable, microphone cable, other touch bar cable, speaker, battery, got that, the touchpad, and the other speaker. All right, so let's go ahead and snap the connectors in. Let me zoom in to make this easier to see. So we're gonna go, it doesn't matter what order you reconnect them other than the battery. You don't wanna connect the battery until everything is reassembled. Right, let's go ahead and lift the audio jack button up so that we can go ahead and get this fingerprint sensor button in. You should feel it click into place, that's good. Then we'll get the audio jack, and we will click that into place. All right, then we'll get the power bar button thing, get that clicked into place. All right, let's move over this way and let's go ahead and get the speaker connected here. There we go. Let's go ahead and get the keyboard connector here. I think this also connects the fans as well. Click that into place. All right, let's get the touchpad button, touchpad locked into place. And then you want to go down this and then stick that back down. Battery we're going to hold off on. Right, make sure you get the up here, the LCD Lvds connector. This one you kind of have to push it down this way a little bit as you kind of click it into place. All right, just like that. If you push it straight down without pushing it this way, it's going to just hit the edge and you might end up breaking that, so be careful with that. All right, we're going to go over to this side. Let's go ahead and connect this part of the touch bar. Okay. Right, this one might be a little tricky. You kind of have to move it slightly over, make sure it gets all lined up, and then click it down. Come on. It helps to kind of look from the side as well, because then you can see where the center of the connector is. All right, click that in. There we go. Make sure everything is nice and lined up. Power connector here. Feels like this is kind of raised up or something. It's kind of weird, but okay. Get this lined up as well. I think there's some dust there. Okay. Line that up and click that into place. All right. Microphone connector here. Make sure the latch is up when you're doing this. Okay. Pull it back slightly. It's hard to see, I know, but pull it back slightly with your finger and then slide that in. Use this tab to help, the plastic tab here, to help pull it in, and then slide your finger over the latch to latch it back down. Put that tape back in place. Let's get this touch bar connector in as well. There we go. Alright, now we're going to get this speaker connector in, just like that. Okay, so looks like we're good to go. Let's zoom out. Okay, so next we're going to do is put back the T8 screws first. Right, I'm going to loosely fit them real quick just to make sure both of them fit. Okay, that one and this one. Alright, now that it's all in place, let's go ahead and put the smaller T3 screws in place. Okay, this is mainly just to make sure everything lines up. We get the T3 screws in down here. There's only the two little ones there. Okay. And we'll tighten this down. Tighten that down. There we go. All right. So we got the T3 screws in. We're going to switch to the T5. Let's go ahead. Oops, actually, let's tighten down the T8 screws completely. Okay. Tighten it all the way down. Okay. And then I already tightened down the T3 screws, but we're going to check one more time just to make sure. Okay. Make sure those are in. All right. So now we're going to switch over to the T5, Torx 5 screwdriver. Let's go ahead and reattach the wireless antennas. So these, you have to make sure they're lined up all the way, and then you can tell because if you slide your finger over the top, it stays in place. Then you can go ahead and push it down. All right, do that with all three. Okay. This one's being a little tricky. You want to make sure you get this lined up right before pushing it down, because if you push it down without having it lined up right, you can actually break the connector or the antenna, and then your wireless isn't going to work unless you have someone solder a new one or replace the antenna board, and that's a lot of work. All right, let's zoom out. Okay, we're going to start putting back all the T5 screws now. So again, the T5 screws ran across the top. All right, so we're going to put those in. Right, there's 4 along the top. Or actually, yeah, there's 4. Okay, get that one in. And then there's one further down to the right. Okay, let's get the one further down to the right now. Okay, and then we got the 2 underneath the fans. Okay, we got all the motherboard screws back in. Now let's switch back to the T3 or Torx 3 screwdriver. And we're going to go ahead and put back all these little covers that help hold the connectors in place. All right, so we're going to get that in. Okay. Doesn't matter which order again. Just make sure you don't do the battery until the very end. Right, so I'm going to get this screw in, and we're going to loosely fit that. You don't want to tighten it down all the way because you want to make sure you get both screws in first. All right, second screw, get that lined up. All right, and then I like to try and get the screw in the center of the metal plate. So let me zoom in actually some more so I can show this better. Okay, so I try and get it to be centered with the metal plate and then tighten it down just like that. Okay, let's go ahead and get the charge ports or the USB-C ports plate and put that on top. Okay, sometimes it helps if you use this metal plate to help guide the screw, so you can use the screw in there and they can use that to help you guide it. Okay, second screw. Tighten that down all the way. Tighten this down all the way. There we go. Alright, next one we're going to do is the video cable up here. Okay, so this one again has two metal plates. The one with the longer screws, the very thick one, goes towards the back here. Okay, let's tighten this one down. Make sure you hold that metal plate in place. Go. There we go. Tighten that in place. Okay, then the one for the screen, the LCD Lvds connector. Okay, again, it helps to sometimes use the metal plate to help guide the screw. There we go, second one. And I just loosely fit the screw right now. Okay, tighten that down. And tighten that one down. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to do the trackpad and the keyboard connectors here. Again, there's no specific order, but just make sure you don't push the battery connector down or attach that little cable until you're done with all the rest. Alright. Sorry, oops, didn't realize my head was getting in the way. Sorry about that. There we go. Alright, so we got all of that into place. Let's go ahead and move over to the right hand side. We're going to put this little touch bar connector cover in. Again, this one you have to do at an angle because there's this little notch here and it has to go slotted in that. There's a little metal thing down there. Alright. Tighten that into place. Okay, now the power connector. Alright, get that into place. Second one. Get that into place. Go. Last little connector cover, and then we have to put back the little hinge covers. Okay. Last one here. Go. Let's go ahead and put back the little hinge covers. So up here, get that, put it at an angle. Okay, make sure that the plastic goes under the metal frame here. Okay, you don't want to just drop it on top. All right, we'll put back those two screws. I'm gonna have to make sure that the computer turns on and everything's good. Okay. Let me see if I can show you what I mean by the plastic cover here. So we're gonna go on this side. So if you're not careful and you just drop it in place, this plastic piece can end up, it can end up like on top like that. You don't want it on top. You want to make sure it slides underneath. All right. Get that screw. Get that in. All right. Last internal screw other than the battery connector. Okay, so we're done with all those inside screws. Now we're going to reconnect the battery here. Let's switch over to the T5 or Torx 5 screwdriver again. Okay. All right, so we're going to grab this big screw here, put that in, get that screw into place. All right, now we're going to get this battery connector. If you don't have this connector in, your computer won't work. Keep that in mind. Right, get that all lined up, slot that in place, and then hold this down so you can use the little pull tab to pull it in. Here, let me see if I can show how far so you can actually see part of the gold pins, but not much. All right, then slide your finger over the top and put that back down. Get this little sticker piece. And the way I like to line this up is I like to try and get this. I usually like to get these little circles lined up. So we're gonna just slowly rotate it down like that and get that and push that into place. There we go, just like that. All right, now let's go ahead and put the bottom cover back on. So let's zoom out. Oops, way too far. Okay, so to put this bottom cover out, you basically do the reverse of taking it off. So keep it at this angle like that, and then we're going to slide the cover in. It doesn't matter which side, left or right first, but just slowly slide it in. Make sure that the edge here is flush. Go to the other side, do the same thing, and usually it will pop out a little bit, so you're going to go ahead and push the other side again, and then I'll just go back one more time. There we go. Then you can go ahead and push these down. Again, you want to make sure these are flush. If it's not, you got to pull the cover back out. All right, so I'm going to test it real quick before I put back the screws. I still need to fix the keyboard things here. Let's take this tape off. Okay, there we go. Oops, I left some residue. Let's make sure to clean that up. All right, so let's go ahead and plug this in. Okay, so I'm gonna plug this one in here. We're gonna test all 4 connectors and make sure it makes the charging sound. Right now, if you don't plug it in, the computer actually won't turn on. Like, you won't feel the mouse click or anything. So let's go ahead and plug it in. Hopefully it's gonna start being clicky again. Okay, it's more clicky than before, so that's a good sign. It's not super clicky, but I can definitely feel it clicking. So it charged, or I can at least hear it. Oh yeah, it clicks now. It's not super clicky, but it does click. All right, so it turned on. That's a good sign. That means the charger worked. If I unplug this, let me see if I can show. The Apple logo, okay. And the other thing we're gonna do is a Smc and Mp Ram Reset. So here you can see it's on right now. So I'm going to unplug this, make sure it's charging. I see the charge light, so that's good. Okay, it does show the charging. I don't know, I guess they muted it. Let's see, is it going to make the sound now? Okay, there we go. Other charge port. Yep, all right, other 2. Huh, it didn't make the sound, but it shows it's charging. Let me unplug it and plug it in again. There we go. All right, and then the last one. Okay, so it's good. So let's go ahead and do the Smc Mp Ram Reset. So what I do, shut it down real quick. Again, this resets like BIOS settings or something. If you're curious like what exactly it does, you'll have to Google it. I just do it because it makes the computer run better after doing all this hardware work. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people ask me, why do you do it? What does it do? If you want that answer, that's what Google will tell you. I don't know the exact thing other than it clears out like cache storage kind of stuff or like BIOS settings. It resets the volume settings and things like that. So anyways, what you do is Control-Option-Shift on the left side and then you press the power button. And that's usually going to do a SMC reset. On this specific model, it looks like it actually doesn't do anything, because if it did, then when I press that, this should actually make the screen go off, but actually the screen is staying on. So I'm going to turn off, and we'll just do the PRAM reset. Alright, so I'm going to hold the power button, shut off the computer, or you can shut it down normally. Alright, power button, Command Option P and R is how you do a PRAM reset. I don't know if I pushed the power button. Okay, so you hear the chime. The screen should go back off, and then if you let go, it should chime again. You can keep holding it until it chimes twice, but usually once the screen goes off, you know that it went properly. And then just wait for the computer to turn itself back on, and that means you did the PRAM reset properly. Alright, so let's see here. Sometimes it takes a while, so we're just going to wait. There we go. Alright, so it turned itself back on. That's pretty much it. We're going to put back all the screws. Hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, again, please like, subscribe. Actually, I still need to do the keyboards. Okay, so this key, actually, a lot of his keys are getting bad right now. So I think what's happening is it's drying up more, and then it's getting worse. I actually have a video showing how to replace all these keys. So if you want to see how to replace all the keys and you're not sure, just let me know. I do have a specific video for that. So this X key is pretty bad. So what I do is I get my fingernail under there. You can use like a thin plastic pry tool, but basically you want to pry up the two edges. And the reason is, let me get this out. You kind of have to wiggle it a little. I don't know if you can tell, but on here they have these little, oops, let's zoom in a bit. So under here they have these little claw shaped clips, and those claws grab around the plastic clips on the keyboard, and that's how it holds in. So here you can actually see some liquid there. Alright, so I'm gonna have to pop out a bunch of these keys. This one's kind of bad too, so I'm gonna pop that out as well. I use my fingernails. You can use whatever you can get under there. Alright, and when you pop these keys out, normally what I do with bigger computers is I would use a needle, and I would get the needle in. You need to find out which one has the little claws first, and then I would get the needle under there and I would slide it up towards the clip, and that would release the clips. But on these MacBooks, it actually works really well to just kind of get like your fingernail in there and then kind of just pop the corners just like that. Alright, I'm gonna wiggle that again. I'm gonna pop this one out, but that's pretty much it. Other than that, I'm going to use like some slightly wet paper towel to clean this up, but I need to figure out which all the keys need to be done. Alright, again, I have another video showing this process, so if you wanted to see that, just let me know, but you can also search "it's been repaired butterfly keyboard" kind of thing, or butterfly keys, and you'll find that. Alright, again, so hopefully this video helped you guys. I'm just going to put the screws back in now. The keyboard keys I'm going to do off camera because my customer's already here. So yeah, anyways, again, hopefully this video helped. If it did, like, subscribe, share my channel with others. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. I'm going to put the screws. You're welcome to stay for that. I'll show how to put back one of the keyboard keys just so you can kind of get the idea. But basically you do the reverse. The side that was that you pried up first, you push back down last. So I'll do that on camera just to show that replacing the keys or removing the keys isn't too risky. As long as you know what you're doing, and if you follow my method closely, then you should be okay. You don't want to use any tool that's too thick to pry it up. And that's why I like fingernails. A lot of people like get all like, I don't know, they don't like that I use my fingernails, but as you can see, they're super useful tools and they're free. They break and then they build themselves back. Like, why would I want to get plastic tools that I just throw in the garbage? So alright, so there we go. I'll show you how to put back one of the keys. Alright, doesn't matter which one you put it on. You can actually put the wrong key in the wrong spot as long as they're the same type of clip underneath. These ones are a little bit different. Alright, but anyways, get that there and then click that into place and you can see it's good. So anyways, that's pretty much all there is to it. Hopefully this video helped you guys. Again, like, subscribe, share my channel with others. If this video helped you save a bunch of money, please consider throwing a little my way.